bitter about what has happened to you? How your life has been spent?
Well, how my life's been spent, it's been spent... I mean, my life's been thrown away in that home, you know, when you look at it. 40 years is a long while, you know. But if I'd have known, I wouldn't have done 40 years. But I'm not doing 40 years nowhere else. I'm not. I've done enough.
Lucy Baker is 75 years old. Altogether, she spent 51 years of her life in various mental homes. She was committed in 1921 simply because she had an illegitimate child. Today, Lucy Baker lives in an old people's home in the north of England. At her age, it's too late now for her ever to be truly independent. She came here 10 months ago on her release from St Catherine's Mental Hospital, Doncaster, where she'd spent all her adult life.
When I was 21, I had my first child, you know. Well, my mother forgave me for that one. She forgave me for it, you see. I had it at home, that one, and that's not to do with anybody. Well, I had a court do with him, you see, because I found him out, you see, so I made him pay instead. His wife told me what about him, because she come to court with me.
He was a married man?
He was a married man, you see, and he passed me as a single man, but if I'd have known, you know, he wouldn't have got me.
What did people say when they discovered that you'd had an illegitimate child?
Well, they felt sorry for me, you know. They didn't go on to me or anything. They felt sorry for me. They used with people. They said it was a shame.
So Lucy began to cope with life as an unmarried mother. She was working as a weaver in a local mill, and while she was at work, her mother cared for the new baby.
I'm coming.
Are you coming, love? You're having you look a smashing, don't you?
Yes.
But 3 years later, Lucy became pregnant again. This time, her father threw her out. She was sent to Dewsbury Workhouse, and there, Lucy's second baby was born.
It was board day when she was born, committee day. Friday, they all board were around me, all committee men. And they all come and they said, what another lucky little girl you've got, Lucy. I said, I have, haven't I? So they said, yes. I said, how are you? I said, oh, all right. I said, I'm well enough. I said, I'm here, I'm not dead yet, I said.
Did the father want to marry you?
Second one did, yes. I could have got married, you know, because he wanted to marry me when I was at home. I took him to my own home, you know, and I introduced him to all my people, and they said, never mind, Lucy. They said, there's better days in store for you. I said, I'm hoping so.
Why didn't you marry him?
Well, I found him out, you see. We're going with other women. That's why I wouldn't marry him.
And how old was the baby when she was taken away from you?
She was 9 months, just 10 months old, just sitting up in a cot, and her little hand went like that when I went to Doncaster. I had to part, you see. I'll tell you why I had to part. Because I run away at Dewsbury, you see, through a nurse. And she hit me, you see. Well, that what caused the trouble. And it was over my baby, you see. So, anyway, I said, you're not in me, it's in me, I said, for my child. I said, I'll go to Dewsbury Police and tell police about you. And I did do.
How did you get out?
I got out, because you couldn't get out there, you know. So I put nurse's uniform on. Blue outside and white underneath me. I just looked like a nurse. Oh, I did look bonny when I was going out the road. So they said, what a shame, Lucy. I said, never mind, I'll stand my own ground. What punishment I get, I said, I'll stand it. And I was put on dry bread and water for a week, but I didn't bother, I did it. I wasn't like some of them yellow, you know, and don't do it. I did it. Some talks about it, never does it, but you see, I didn't talk about it, I did mine.
But they brought you back?
Because they brought me back, but I got on all right with policemen. They said, he put his arms around me and they said, don't cry, Lucy.
For now, Lucy had to be sent to a place less easy to escape from, a mental hospital. St Catherine's, Doncaster is the area hospital for this part of the northeast, taking mentally subnormal patients from Barnsley and Halifax, Nottingham and Sheffield. Lucy shared a ward with patients who were severely disturbed. Most, because of their low mental age, needed constant supervision. Whether Lucy understood what was happening to her isn't clear from her memories today. She says she was never allowed outside the hospital. She says she never saw her babies. Lucy was still in her early 20s.
Reach for the ceiling and down.
Today, if Lucy had had an illegitimate child, she would simply have been put into care. But 50 years ago, the law was very different. As an unmarried mother, Lucy was committed under the 1913 Mental Deficiency Act. The Act wasn't repealed until 1959. But by then, Lucy was an old woman.
Some were sensible and some wasn't. There wasn't many sensible girls there. There was most like low grades, you know. I couldn't help themselves,
How
It
about...
was shame, though, in one way.
Did you, while you were in St Catherine's, try to get out of the place?
Well, I did do, I wanted to get out. I owned up I wanted to get out. Do you know why? I'll tell you, because the place got on my nerves. They were always going off it, Some of them used to go mad there. And one girl went mad, she kicked my leg, and I had an awful leg. I had to go to bed with it. It was up like a big balloon.
So what did you do to try to get out?
Well, I wrote to the high authorities, the high authorities at London.
Lucy first appealed for help when she was 26. She wrote to the hospital's Board of Guardians.
Dear sir, I want to get out into the world and earn my own living. I have done my best since I was here, sir. This time I was out and doing myself some good, and also my little girl. It is such a long time since I saw her, sir. Can I have my chance outside?
Her appeal was rejected. 6 years later, she wrote again.
Dear sir, how is my little girl? I have not heard from her since I have been here. Would you kindly put the letter before the Board of Guardians? I want to be back in my own parish before the summertime comes. I think this place has brought me to my senses. Every mother has got love for her child. I shall be a much better girl when I get back, sir.
Baby. Baby.
Lucy gave up writing. She gave up trying to get out. She spent the next 25 years of her life in this ward of St Catherine's Hospital, a ward for lower-grade patients. This is where she slept, in a dormitory with 49 other women, each bed 18 inches apart, with no room for even a bedside locker. But in 1972, society remembered Lucy Baker. In January, after 40 years in St Catherine's, she was found a place in an old people's home.
And it's a long while to do in a place as that, 40 years in a place. I might as well have done a month in jail or 2 months in. I'd have got out and I'd have been free if I'd have gone into prison, because you do get out when you're in prison.
When you came out of the mental home and you came here 10 months ago, what was your first impression of the world that you were coming out into again?
Well, when I got out of St Catherine's, well, I thought, well, it's like being outside, like being in heaven, because, you see, I'd been penned up and never seen the world, well, much of the world. Well, there you are, you do feel it, don't you? But the man in the car that fetched me told me not to cry. He said, never mind, Lucy, you've done your time for it. I said, I have.
And the world was very different. When Lucy first went into an institution, Lloyd George was still Prime Minister. The streets were still lit by gas lamps, and it was 6 years before Lindbergh was to fly the Atlantic. Today, she goes shopping with her friend Phyllis, who comes to